possible to cover everything, but definitely it's going to be a guideline to help you. So with this, I wish you all the best. And Anuja ma'am, you can take over.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, students. As ma'am has already told you all that today I'm going to take C programming. Okay. So first, let me just share my screen. I hope I'm audible, properly audible to all of you.
Yes, Anuja. Okay, one more thing. Whenever she asks questions, I want you to answer. Please be responsive, make it interactive, and make it interesting for the teacher. Otherwise, the teacher also will lose interest after some time. Okay, so please make it interactive. Answer questions. Switch on your mics and answer.
Yes. Okay. So as ma'am said, please, whenever I'm asking you any questions, let's not all of us not sleep for the questions that I'm asking. My questions would be just like, have you heard about this or have you gone through this anytime? So at least you can answer yes or no, right? So we'll just start. I hope my screen is visible. Please respond. In between, if you cannot hear me, you can just ping me like, okay, it's not audible, so that I can just check the connectivity. Okay. So yes. So we have 2 hours time, okay, from now on. So we'll just try to touch the topics which are very important with respect to your placements. Obviously, we cannot go in detail of all of it, okay, but the things that are asked or that are expected from you all to know, okay, and how the questions are tricked up. So we'll just touch up those particular topics and those particular things in that topic, okay, and we'll try to solve some questions. So also one more thing, before I start the session, I hope you all have something to write it down, because I'll be asking you the questions and you have to answer me based on that. So you might have to write it down on your paper. Okay, so please, if you do not have, please get it, and then we can start, right? Okay, so in C programming, okay, the first and foremost thing that comes into picture is how a C program looks like. Okay, so this is the basic diagram of your C program. Okay, starting with the preprocessor directives. Okay, can just quickly someone answer this? Any preprocessor directives that you remember that you have used them while writing a C program? Yes. No. No one remembers a basic
Hash
hash. Yes. 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 Please continue.
hash include stdio.h.
Yes, yes, very good. So hash include stdio.h we all have used, okay? Even if you have not written your programs by yourself, this you might be remembering. So that's a preprocessor directive which has all the libraries that are inbuilt, okay, which we usually use. Okay, next we have global declaration. So maybe you might have not used this in your programs, but sometimes we need to have a globally accessible variable. So those particular variables are declared outside the main, which you want to access inside the main in any other functions. Okay, next we have int main, or you might have seen void main. Anything you can use, not an issue. Okay, inside main we do all our local declarations, that is variable declarations or any function calls. All these things comes inside your main, right? And if there are any user defined functions, that will come outside the main. So that is why we have written other functions as required. So now variable declaration, the types of data types and all this you all have just heard. We'll just brush up all of those things quickly. Okay, so this is your basic C program structure. So one example, hash include stdio.h along with the main function, and inside this we have printf. So I hope you all remember the printf is used for displaying the output on the screen. Can someone tell me what do we use to take the input from the user? Which function do we use to take the input?
Scanner.
Very good, scanf, right? So scanf we use to take the input from the user. Printf is for displaying any output, right? Why we need to know this? Because the questions appear like what is the output of this particular program or this particular code. So for that we need to know these things, like printf is for displaying, scanf is for taking the input. Next we have data types. Okay, so data types, basic, there are two: basic, that is derived. Now basic, I think you all have used different data types, right? So integer we have used, float we have used, character we have used. These are all the basic ones. Derived are arrays, pointers, structures, enums. Okay, now basically when we use all of these data types, when we want to declare any variable, okay, in the beginning of the program we declare it, we need to always declare it of what type that particular variable will hold the data of, right? So suppose if the variable is holding a data of type number, then we declare it is to be integer. Float is for what? I think it's better you people unmute your mic so that you can quickly answer without, you know, wasting time for unmuting. Yes, someone answered something.
Decimal values.
Decimal values. Very good. Character is for what? Character. First, character is for? No one remembers. So when we have alphabets, okay, we will be using character. Okay, now in data types particular topic, what we should be knowing in placement perspective is, first thing that we should know is what is the size. Okay, so each data type has a particular size in terms of bytes, so that is a very important thing that you should know with respect to placements, because those kind of questions usually appear, like the size of the data type, the range of the data type. So from this number to this number is the range of the data type. So direct questions can come based on the range, or it can be indirect questions, like given some bytes and you need to calculate the total memory, or you know, for arrays, a similar, like one example is given and you have to calculate the memory. So in that case you have to remember, okay, what is the size and what is the range for each of this data type. So we'll just see character. Okay, one more thing that you should remember in data types is the format specifiers. Okay, so format specifiers mainly for integer, float, character. Okay, so can someone tell me what is the format specifier for integer? Percentage
Percent
D. Very good.
D.
Very good. So character,
Percent C.
percent C, very good. And float, it is percentage F. Yes. So these are the three things. Again, we will see in a table, we have already put it up, so you can refer to it later also. Okay, to just revise what are the format specifiers for different data types that we will be using in our programs. Okay. Now, one thing, character declarations of the variables or the data types also we should just revise a little bit. Okay, we'll just see. So we'll just mention the data type. Okay, if you can see here for the character, we have mentioned char, character. So the keyword also you should remember. Okay, now IT or com students might be, you know, frequently using it, so they remember it very well, but the other people like electronics, mechanical, they haven't used it for a long time maybe. So for you people, I'm saying that you just revise like what are the keywords for this each of these data types. Okay, so char is character. Okay, space, this is called as initialization. So one option that you have is you can just define or declare a variable, or you can declare and initialize a variable. So these are the two different things. Okay, so this is called as assignment operator whenever there is equal to. So we have here declared B to be of character type, and we have assigned value G to B. Okay, and this is a format specifier for character. Okay, integer, we will just declare, use a keyword int with a variable name. Either you want to assign, you can assign, or you can simply declare it. Either of the options are available for any of the data types. Okay, so for float we use float, float. Okay, space with the name of the variable that you want to use. This table is very important. I would suggest you people to by heart this table if you are not able to remember it, or if you are not able to deduce it. So what is this table containing? It is telling you various variable types, okay, when the keywords used, bytes required, and the range. So basically in the data types topic, this is what is required for you all for placements perspective, that you should know this by heart. Okay, so if any question of MCQs or any of that kind comes, you are like ready and you know the answers. Okay, so for character we have care, unsigned, and we have signed. Okay, so unsigned means which are only positives and there are no negatives, whereas signed means there can be either positive or a negative. Okay, next we have short integer, long integer. Okay, so for short integer we have short int, for long integer we have long int as the keyword. The bytes required are 2 for short int, for long it's 4. Okay, the range you have to remember somehow. Okay, but only one thing that I can say is that for the negative numbers, okay, for the signed, what we call, for the signed ones we have negative and positive, so starts with negative range up till positive range. For unsigned there is only positive range. Okay, so if you can see unsigned character, it starts from 0 to 255 because it is of 1 byte. Okay, 1 byte equals 8 bits, so if you do 2 raised to 8 you will get the answer. Okay, so it's starting from 0, that's the reason we have 255 instead of 256. Okay, so here you can see by default any data type is signed. Okay, so if you want to mention it to be unsigned, matlab no negatives, then you have to specifically mention unsigned. Clear? So this is a table which is very important. Definitely I'll be sharing the slides also with you all, so you just remember this table by heart so that you know what it is, what is the range, how many bytes are required. Fine. So if you can see here, the largest or the highest memory is occupied by your long double. Okay, so this kind of questions can come, like they might give you 4 options and they can ask you which is the highest one in terms of bytes. So for that you should know bytes value. Okay, so please remember this table. Fine. So that is the basics of data types and the simple one. Next, what we have is decision making and branching. I will be open for questions once I'm done with this. Okay, when we start the questions, you can definitely ask me if you have any doubts, right? So decision making and branching, does anyone remember anything with respect to this that you have done, decision making or branching? Yes, which are the concepts that we have learned in C with respect to this? Please answer.
If else statements.
Very good. If else, yes, then. Okay, we have if separately, we have if else, then we have nested if else, right? So that all covers if else. Next, anything else? Any other branching concept that we have learned in C? Please answer fast.
Do while.
Do while. Okay, someone answered do while. Okay, so just let me correct. Do while is a loop. Okay, so we have something different, like here decision making and branching, and then there are loops. Okay, so do while is a good answer, but it comes under loops, wherein do while is used to repeat something, right? So it's not like, okay, this or that and then we stop. No, if this, then we again tend to repeat. Okay, sometimes if it is true, so it comes under loops. Any other answer?
Switch cases.
Very good. Switch cases, because in that case we just give the input and we get one output, or one is the decision, one case is the decision, right? So next, anything else we have learned? Okay, so let's just see now what are the things which we have put inside this particular and what are the important things. Now when I start, as I've told you with respect to data types, what are the important things that you should remember. Now same way here, if I come for decision making and loops also, what is the important thing is the syntax. You should be very thorough about the syntax of writing this. Okay, because sometimes there are questions which they give a wrong syntax and it tend to confuse you. Okay, second thing after syntax is the flow, how the working happens inside any loop, or how the working happens inside any branching concept, right? So that is also important, because these are the two things wherein your questions answers depend always, and they tend to confuse you with these two things only. Okay, so if we know the syntax and if we know how the working or the flow happens inside a loop, we are done. We don't have to worry much about this concept, right? So let's just see. First one, we have if else. Okay, so I think almost all of you know what is if else. There are two possibilities: either the condition is true or the condition is false, right? So if the condition is true, we go into the if block. Okay, I think that we have put a separate if else one, but I will just explain you with this. Okay, so if the condition is true, we go into if block, or if the condition is false, we go into the else block, right? So let's just see the syntax of if first of all. So first we have if is a keyword. You have to be very careful with the keyword in C programming, because you are going to learn Python also, I think. So do not get confused, because there we write something a little bit different with respect to C. So remember, if is for if, and then we have a test condition. One important thing that you should remember here is no semicolon is put for if. Okay, so if we put a semicolon for this particular if we put a semicolon for this particular if, that means whatever statements are there inside this if block are skipped. Okay, so usually whenever question comes, read carefully whether there is a semicolon after if. Okay, if there is, then there is nothing that it won't come inside the if block, it will skip the if block. Okay, second thing that you should remember is sometimes they don't give the braces. Okay, these are called as braces, open curly brace and closing curly brace. If the braces are not given, okay, and after if statement, if there are 2-3 statements written, then we have to consider only one statement, the first statement. Okay, so if there is only one statement, then we don't have to put the braces, okay, which comes under if block. Okay, so if there are multiple statements that we want to execute inside if, then we have to put this curly braces. Now why am I stressing on this? Because this type of question appears wherein they don't give you braces and you get confused which particular things you have to execute inside that particular if block, right? So remember this thing, there is no semicolon, and inside the braces whatever is there, that is to be considered in if. If there are no braces, the only statement after if will be considered to be inside the if block. Okay, and then after you come out from the if block, the remaining statements will be executed as it is. Here what we have is just an example. Okay, so rather than giving this detailing of the examples, we'll directly jump to the questions later. This we have put for you to refer it later. You can definitely go through this. Okay, next we have if else block. So inside if else, syntax is again the same. There is no semicolon for if block. There is no, yes, someone is saying something. All of you please mute your mics if you are not speaking. Yeah, thank you. So inside else block, what we have here is okay, we don't have again a semicolon for else. Okay, and whatever statements you want to execute inside else block, you have to write inside this particular block with using braces again. Okay, so if there are no braces, only first statement is to be considered inside the else block. Fine. So this is a flow chart for if else. You all can just go through it. Okay. Next we come to switch statement. Now switch statement, basically we give different options to the user. Okay, one input is given, and based on that particular value of the input, we decide which case is to be executed inside the switch, right? So let's just jump directly to the syntax, because that is what is more important for us right now. So switch is a keyword. Inside switch, here you can either pass an expression. So sometimes they give you a program code and they ask you to solve the output. So if you see an expression, do not think that it's a compile error or runtime error. That is allowed inside this particular braces. Okay, either it can be expression or it can be a value. Then we have a braces, again curly braces. Next case is a keyword. Here the value, either the expression output or the value that you are passing will be there. Okay, it might match, it might not match. Okay, so you are just giving the various options to the user. Now inside this, what you need to remember is there has to be a break statement for each case. Okay, so if there is no break statement, please see the question carefully. If there is no break statement, then the case next to it will also get executed, although the value might not match with what you are passing. I repeat again, if there is no break statement for a particular case, then the next to that, whatever case is there, that will also get executed even if the value doesn't match with the value that you have passed. Okay, so what you have to check in switch case, you have to check if there is a break statement properly written for each of the cases. Okay, and by default there is one default case. If none of these values are proper and if all the syntax prior to this is proper, then directly your control will jump to default case. Okay, so by default whatever you want to execute, that will be present in case of your default case. Again, there has to be a break statement for this. All right, so this is your simple switch. Okay, so this is a flow chart for your switch case. Okay, so that is all about your branching and condition based on conditions. Next we have something called as loops. Okay, so loops, can someone just tell me when do we use loops? When we make can you just name the loops that we have learned in C programming? Past.
For while
For loop, very good. For loop, while loop, and one person already answered before, do while loop, and I mentioned it to be a loop, right? So we have three loops: while, for, and do while. Now, in the beginning itself, I told you in this particular thing, what you need to remember is the syntax and the flow, how it goes. Okay, the flow of how your loops work, right? So from which step to which step, when will it move and how will it move is very important. Okay, so we'll just jump to while loop first and we'll just see the syntax of while loop. Again, when we write while is a keyword. In bracket we have condition, okay, that we will be checking, and there is no semicolon again. Okay, so if there is a semicolon, what will happen? This particular loop, whatever is there inside, won't get executed. Only this condition will keep on moving. Okay, so either increment, depending on what condition is put inside, whether it can be incremented, decremented, depends. Okay, and inside this, if there is a semicolon, it won't be executed. Okay, so now there are three things that we have to consider inside for loops concept. One is initialization, second one is condition checking, and third one is either increment or decrement, depends. Okay, so for initialization, what we have, there has to be a initialization in the thing while loop. Okay, so initialization will happen outside, condition checking will happen inside this brackets, and increment decrement will happen inside the while loop. Okay, now again, increment decrement we have learned, if you remember, there is something called as post and there is something called as pre. Okay, so pre means first we do the increment or decrement depending on what operator is given, and post means first we substitute, then we calculate. In case of pre, first we calculate or update and then we substitute. Okay, so remember these two things. Okay, so this is basically the syntax of your while loop. Okay, now this is a flow chart wherein we initialize, we check the condition. Okay, I think I forgot to mention one thing. When will this while loop be executed? If this condition is true, then the while loop will be executed. So what is the thing that we have to remember? While loop goes on until the condition is true. Okay, so once the condition becomes false, we have to come out of the loop. So this is the flow chart for that. We test the condition. If it is true, we go inside the loop. We do all the increment, decrement, whatever is given to us, and then we jump back and check the test the condition again. If it is false, we come out. All right. Next, we have do while loop. Now, in do while loop, the syntax is there is some keyword called as do and there is some keyword called as while. Okay, so do, okay, pardon for this, this is capital, this is small d. Okay, small d, small w, that you all know, I assume that. Okay, so capital small d, do, and while. Now one thing we saw in case of while, if you remember, there was no semicolon for while loop, but if we have a do while, then we have a semicolon for while loop. Okay, so we have do, we write whatever conditions or statements that we want to execute inside the do, and then we have a while and we have a condition that we do checking. Okay, the difference is that do while at least once gets executed, irrespective of what is the condition, whether it is true or false, doesn't matter. Whereas while it doesn't get executed if the condition is false. Okay, so that's why it is called as entry loop, and this is called as exit control. Okay, so do, then we have braces, then we have some statements inside that, and then we have while. So initialization will happen outside do, the statements, increment, whatever you want to do will happen inside the do, and while will always have the condition. Again, if the condition is true, it will execute, otherwise if it's false, it will come out of the loop. This is the flow chart for the same. Okay, next we have for loop. Now for loop, what we should remember is that the syntax again. So if you can see, this is the syntax for loop. We have for, open bracket, we have expression 1 semicolon, expression 2 semicolon, expression 3. Okay, now here what you should remember, there is no semicolon for loop. If there is a semicolon, I have already repeated the things. I'll repeat it again so that it fits in your head. Like if there is a semicolon, the next statements will be skipped. So you are not supposed to execute them. Okay, so expression 1 is the initialization, like how we did in the while and do while, initialization in the beginning. Same way, either you can do initialization outside the for loop, or you can do it here in place of expression 1. If you are doing the initialization outside the for loop, then this particular thing will remain blank. Okay, sometimes if you have observed, the question comes wherein direct semicolons are there and there is nothing. Okay, so that is also allowed. It's not runtime or compile time error. Okay, so this initialization can be done outside, this can be kept blank, but you have to put a semicolon so that the compiler knows that okay, this particular part was for initialization, this one was for condition, and this one was for increment decrement, right? So the second part, expression 2, is the condition. So if you want to check any condition, that will particularly come here in place of expression 2. Okay, now always it need not be less than or less than equal to, greater than equal, not necessary. Sometimes it can be just a number which is given to you in the question. So that is also considered to be correct, because at the end of the condition checking, what we check whether the condition is true or condition is false, right? So if a number is given to you instead of expression 2, that means it is true. Okay, so if there is 0 given, that means the condition is false. So these are some of the tips in between I'm telling you while giving you briefing about the loops also, that what kind of questions usually appear for this to confuse. Okay, so if there is no condition, it's all right. If they have given you a number instead of condition, you have to consider that number to be true, condition to be true, until it is given 0. Okay, and expression 3 will be your increment, decrement, or it can be some other operator also. Anything is allowed, okay, until and unless it is giving you some output. Fine. So what is the flow? Let's just see the flow first, because while and do while it was very much obvious. We just check the condition, we go inside, but here we should remember. Okay, so first thing will happen is expression 1 will get executed. After expression 1, we will jump to expression 2. Okay, so we won't come inside the loop, we will jump to expression 2. We will check the condition, if it is true or if it is false. If it is true, then we come inside the body of the loop. If it comes out to be false, then we jump directly outside the loop. Okay, so after expression 2, if this comes out to be true, we come inside the loop, we execute what is there inside the loop, and then we go back to expression 3. So it need not be always increment or decrement. You have to see based on the question what is given to you. So if the expression 3, whatever is the thing, you have to execute that, and the control comes back to expression 2. Expression 1 is executed only once, that is the first time, that is the initialization. Okay, so expression 1 control is there only the first time. After that we go to expression 2, expression 2 to body of the loop. After body of the loop is executed, we go back to expression 3. After expression 3, we go back again to expression 2 and check the condition, if it is true, false. Based on expression 2. If it is true, we go inside. If it is false, we come outside. All right, so I hope you all are there with me. I'm not asking in between because as we know that we have just 2 hours with us, so we have to cover up. If you are having any questions, you can definitely ask me once I'm done with this particular topic. Okay, so this is the flow chart for loop. Fine. Okay, now we will just try to solve some questions on this. Okay, I want you all to answer this. Okay, instead of okay, so instead of just sitting quietly, until and unless you people don't give me answers, I'm not going for the next question. Okay, so please read the question, the first. Okay, before going for questions, do you have anything, any doubts with respect to what I did, what I spoke till now? You want me to repeat something? Anyone? Yes, please speak out, don't just sit quietly. This is for you all, the session is for you all, right? So if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, no questions, then we'll just start with the solving of the questions. Okay, what is the first question? Please read it and tell me the answer. Let me see who answers first.
Option A.
Sorry, someone answered option A. Okay, any other answer? Any other answer? Just one person is answering. Answer fast, all of you. I'm not going to do anything if you answer me wrong. Just that I want to know that you people are listening to me. There's only one answer, A. What about others? No answer.
Answer B.
Answer B. Okay. Anything else? Any other answer? Okay, so basically let's just see what is the answer. The answer is B. Okay, wherein you have to just know that met.h is one of the header files which includes all the mathematical functions. So POW is for power. Okay, so sometimes you have to write 2 raised to 9 or whatever, 2 raised to 8. So for that we will be using this power function. Next we have RAND is for random. Okay, and next is sqrt is for square root, and sin h you all know. So out of all of this, power, square root and sin h all come under mathematics, so it is mat.h, and rand is stored into a library called as stdlib.h. okay, okay, now tell me this answer. This we have just now seen also, so I think you all will be quick in answering this. Answer fast, please. Why it's taking so much time for answering, or you people are not listening?
Option A.
Answer is A. Okay. Any other answer?
B.
B. Okay. Any other answer? Okay, so such MCQs, whenever they come, okay, if you are confused, what is the first thing that you need to do is just check out or cross the wrong answers, or which you feel are not at all relevant to the question. You can just cut them out. So now if I do that for this, okay, before that let me see what is the answer. Answer is B. Okay, so if you see here, we have int and we have int, and we know integer doesn't have any precision in sense after the decimal point how many numbers are allowed. Okay, so that is the precision. So for integer we don't have a decimal point itself, so definitely this two cannot be the answer. Next we have float and double, and we just now, like few minutes back, we checked in the table also that double has a higher precision than the float. Okay, so that is the reason double, okay, is having the highest precision. So the answer is double. Okay, so basically double has more digits after the decimal point compared to float. Okay, so that is the reason double is the answer. Okay. Yes, can you answer this question? Please write it down if you want. I will give you time for this and just tell me the answer. So that is the reason I had told you that table which I showed you is very important. So if you know that table, few of your questions will be easy for you all to answer. Okay, now I don't want to take much time because some of you might not know about the increment decrement. Okay, so I'll give you that time for the next question maybe, because I just want to explain you this. Okay, okay, before that, has anyone solved it? Who can answer this question? People who know increment decrement operators? Yes. Yes, someone answer.
20.
20.
Option
Okay.
20.
Someone is saying option, but what is the option?
Option B.
B, 20.
B. Okay. So they are very quick in answering that because maybe they know how it works, and that is how you should know, because most question comes along with increment decrement operators. Okay, so what you should know over here, first of all, we'll see that this is a decrement. Okay, and this is called as post because the variable is written first and then the operator is written. Okay, now if you see here plus plus is written, so this is increment, that we all know. But is it a post or a pre? It is a pre because this is written before the variable. Okay, now second that you should remember is, if there is a post, then first I think I already mentioned this. Okay, so you can just make a note of it if you don't remember. Sorry, first the substitution happens and then the updation. Okay, whereas for pre, first the updation, that is increment or decrement, whatever operator is given, that will happen first, and then the substitution. Okay, so if I go here, first what has happened, int a is equal to 10, so we have assigned 10 value to a directly, and we have one more variable x that is of type integer, right? So now here what we are doing, x is equal to a minus minus plus 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 a. Okay, so in this case what we will do, we will start from here, right? So a is substituted because this is a post, right? So we will be substituting 10 for this first, right? Then the decrement will happen. Okay, so the decrement increment always happens with respect to 1, so either it is -1 or +1 depending on minus or plus. So what I will do here is a, if you can see here, I've written over here down the explanation also for you all to refer it later. Okay, so what has happened, when I do first a, what is the value, that is, I told you when there is a post we have to first substitute the value, then updation. So for a minus minus, the entire value that is taken is 10. We are not decrementing because this is post. So first substitute the value. Okay, once I substitute the value 10, that you can see over here. Okay, next I write my plus. Okay, so now after substitution I have to update. So a minus minus will become 9 because 10 minus 1 is 9. Okay, so when I come here after plus, this a value we have is 9, but here what are we doing, we are doing increment, and that too it is pre-increment. So when we have pre-increment, we have to first execute and then, or first update and then substitute. So what is the value of 9 that was passed from here to, sorry, what is the value of a that was passed from here to here? It was 9, and then we have to increment it because it is pre-increment, so it becomes 10. So what is the value, increment and then substitute? So what is the second value that we substituted here is again 10. Okay, so 10 plus 10, what we got is 20, and that is what will be the answer that will be written. Fine, is this clear? Are there any doubts on this? So just remember one thing, increment decrement operators can be either pre or they can be post. If it is post, first substitute then update. If it is pre, then first update and then substitute. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay,
Yes.
next question, past. This is very easy. but I've just kept it so that, you know, for the people who are new, they can answer. For loop, I just now explained for loop, initialization, condition checking, and this is your increment decrement operator. So this is increment which is given to us. What is the flow? Initialization, then the condition checking, come inside the loop, and then increment. Come back to a condition checking, come inside the loop, and then increment if the condition is true. So answer this. Answer is A. Okay, okay. All are giving answer as A. Okay, let's just see the answer because it's very simple. So I am just giving you the answer first because it's A, 5. Why it is 5? Because initially I have written over here the values of I. Okay, I is initialized to 0. Now here I told you that there is no semicolon. Okay, fine, this is correct. Next, what we have is there are no braces given. Why there are no braces given? Because there is only one statement which is there inside for loop. So if there is only one statement, that then we know that braces are not required. Okay, so that means this statement comes under this for loop. So next I'll check is if 0 is less than 5, it's true. So I will print hello. Okay, the question what is been asked to us is how many times will the loop be executed. So we don't have to worry about printing that hello and all that, but how many times the loop is executed. Okay, so next we will go for I plus plus. So now we are done with 1. Okay, that is 0. I plus plus will increment it by 1. Okay, so next it will come here 1 less than 5, correct? The condition is true, so again it will go inside the loop. So this is second time. Next I plus plus is 3. 3 less than 5 is correct, condition is true, so it will execute third time. Next I plus plus, I becomes 4. 4 is less than 5, condition is true. Fifth time, correct? Next we have 5. Okay, when 4 becomes 5, so this 5, when we come here, we are checking is 5 less than 5. No, it's false, so it will come outside the loop. So it has executed how many times? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so total, sorry, not 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So total 5 times it has executed, and that's the reason the answer is 5. Okay, now let's see this. Okay, who will answer this question? I've tried to put, different questions from my side, how much I could, but you have to definitely practice more and more questions. Okay, so please answer this question. Yes, can someone at least a guess? Can you give any are there any guesses?
Hello world.
11.
Sorry, 11. Okay, any other answer? Okay, now answer is 12. So how did we get 12? Okay, now first thing that you have to remember is whenever there is a printf, and specifically we never encountered this, even if we use it frequently, that always printf will return if there is a percentage s. Okay, so percentage d is for integer that we have seen, percentage s is for strings, right? String is a collection of characters, right? So when there is any printing, okay, what will this, only this printf will return is, it will print the output and it will return the number of characters it has printed successfully. Okay, so that is what is returned by printf, right? So first what will happen, it will come here, it will go here, percentage d, it will try for some integer value. So the integer value will be the one that is returned by this particular printf, entire printf. So when I say percentage s, I'm printing hello world. Okay, now you people, I think 2 3 whoever answered 11, you just counted the characters, right? So 1 2 3 4 5, also you have to count the space 6 7 8 9 10 11, correct? So you have to consider the space also, and you have to also consider the /n, okay, which is not visible, but that is to be always considered whenever we are talking with respect to strings. So this is one thing you have to remember, that whenever we have strings, there is an extra character that we have to always consider, which is /n, which indicates the end of the string, which is not visible, but it is always there. Okay, so 11 plus that /n has to be considered. So what will be the output? First it will print hello world. Okay, I think this exclamation is not there over here. Okay, so I made a mistake while writing it. So it's just hello world space, it will just give you 12. Okay, so that will be your answer. Do not now here I have not given any options, but do not go to check like, okay, it's a compile error or syntax error. No, this is allowed. Okay, I hope that is clear to all of you. Okay, now can someone answer this one? Fast.
Option A.
Option A. Okay, any other answer? Yes. See, it's okay if it's wrong. Just prove me that you are not sleeping, that's all. Fast. Yes, someone is answering, but I could not hear it. Can you please repeat your answer again?
D.
D, compile error, right? Any other answer? Okay. Can you please explain or justify your answer? Compile error. Yes.
Percentage for integer.
Okay. But we have declared where as integer only, no? It's been declared here as integer, no, int only.
052 requires more memory.
Okay. More memory, how much more memory? Don't you store in integer 127 or 128? You can, no? The range of integer we saw just before starting this, right? So we can have, I think, 0 to 355. Something is there, right? 655, 365, 55, 65. Till that we can have. Okay, so I think whatever you people are thinking, just because it's just 2 lines of code, so how it can be directly printing 52, that's a good way of thinking. But sometimes, not always, it works. Okay, sometimes they might give you simple question and you might go to think, oh, this is complicated, this can't be so simple. No, so please be careful, whatever you're thinking. But yes, it's not 52 definitely. So whatever you people were thinking is somewhat right, I would say. Okay, so let's just see what is the answer. The answer is 42. Okay, why is that? Because 0, whenever I'm writing, someone guessed like percentage D, someone guessed, okay, 052, but somewhere all of you were close enough. So yes, percentage D is for integer, and if I want to write integer, var is equal to some number, then I would directly write 52. Why do I have to write 0 in front? Okay, so 0 in front always represents octal number. Okay, so octal number, I hope all of you know, even electronics and mechanical people know all of this, octal decimal, right? So when we write 0 in front of a number, it is always a octal number. So percentage D, we have a decimal, correct? So if I want to print a percent, that is a decimal number, I need to convert my octal number to decimal. Okay, so how do I convert my octal number to decimal? If you remember, maybe in first year you might have studied this, or even after electronics people might have studied it in logic design, or I think so you have it, right, in that electronics. So how do we convert this octal to decimal? Is octal is represented by number 8, right? So what we have to do is we have to start 0 This is zeroth term, this is the first term. You have to start from 0 from right to left. Okay, I have written it over here, that's the reason I'm not writing it again on this sheet. So you can refer to this answer explanation down. So this is 0, this is 1. So what I will do is I will multiply 8, okay, into 2, and this is the 0th term, so I will write 8 raised to 0. Okay, so if I have to write here, okay, let me just try writing it with pen, because then you people say that the color is not visible, so I was a little reluctant to write that. Okay, so what do I do here? I will just write 8 raised to 0 and I will multiply it with 2, because 2 is at location 0. Okay, this I will add it to 8 raised to 1, okay, and I will multiply this to 5. So this starts with 0, this starts with 1. 0 is not considered because it is just to represent that it is a octal number, it is there, otherwise it is of no use. Okay, so we have 0 and 1, so that's the reason we have multiplied 8 raised to 0 with 2 and 8 raised to 1 with 5. From where this 1 came, this 1 is this location, this 0 is this location. Okay, so that is how we get this and we add it. So what is the answer that we get? Okay, this is the answer that we get is 42. So that is how we are getting. Now this question would have been simpler enough if instead of percentage D, if it was percentage O. Okay, so if it was percentage O and if it was given like this, okay, if it was given like this, then you would have directly said that A is the answer. Okay, so but here there is no percentage O, here it is percentage D, so we are converting octal to decimal and then we are printing the value 42. Okay, so this different kind of questions, now you might be thinking, array, I am not getting this answers quickly. No, it's okay. So you have to encounter one question of different types so that you can think in that way also when the questions are asked. I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay, so let's just go for the next one. Okay, can anyone answer this question? This is very easy. Yes. Hash define, okay, some people might not know what is hash define, so for them I'll tell you, whenever I use this hash define, right, so if I'm using hash define term, that is to rename or to give another name for something. Okay, so now hash define here, the first thing that I've written is string, so string is a new name that I've given. So if you encounter this particular thing in your program, that is percentage %s/n double quotes, then we name it as a string. Okay, so instead of percentage %s/n, I can use string keyword. Same way hash define I have done hey and then I have written hello world. So wherever there is hello world in double quotes, if I find it anywhere in my program, I can use, instead of writing this entire thing, I can just write one word, that is hey. So what will happen? Int main, we know printf. Okay, now instead of string, what will be substituted? Percentage s double quotes percentage %s/n will be substituted, and instead of hey double quotes hello world double quotes will be substituted. Okay, so can you tell me what will it print? Quickly, fast.
Hello world.
Which hello world? Can you tell me which option? B, D. There are two hello worlds in the answer.
D.
D. Okay, any other answer? Any other answer? Anyone? Second option, that is B. Okay. Okay, so now the people who answered B, that is wrong. Okay, the answer is D. Okay, hello world is the answer. Why? Because if I write in this, right, so if I normally write, suppose, okay, I am new in using this, so just if I'm doing any mistakes while writing, okay, like this, please. Okay, so if I just write printf, I'll just erase all of this. Yes. So instead of this, if I write here, okay, if I just write here printf, okay, then I will just write double quotes %s, correct, /n, this is normal, right? And when we write the other side of it, again we always use double quotes, if you remember. So this double quotes are never printed when we write like this. So that is the reason, even when we are substituting this hello world, right, the double quotes are substituted, that's right, but double quotes won't be printed. Okay, so only the normal hello world will be printed. So be careful when you are reading the question. This is how the simple questions are made difficult. Okay, so that's the answer. So the next question. Yes, if someone can guess the answer, I would have explained. No? No answer? Okay. Sorry, someone answered. Okay. So what is the question? What is the output of this program? They have said size of unsigned int is to be assumed as 4 bytes. Okay. So this is int main unsigned int I. Okay. This is of type int unsigned int. That means there is no sign. Positive numbers only. They have declared I as that, and they have initialized 500 to I. Okay, next what we have here is a while loop. So you can see while loop, and then there is a bracket, and as I have mentioned, you always check for this. So there is a semicolon for this while. Okay, I think the girl who answered, she answered it as 500. So she didn't notice that there is a semicolon over here. So what I had told you, if there is a semicolon, then the next statement, whatever inside is there in that while loop, will not get executed itself, right? So here there is no braces. There are no braces, but there is only one statement. So I have told you we have to assume it that this particular statement is inside this loop. But since there was a semicolon over here, we cannot execute this. Okay, so since there is a semicolon, this cannot be executed. So we consider that printf is outside while loop. Fine. So printf doesn't come inside while loop, it is outside because there is a semicolon. So it ends over there, and there are no braces. If there was braces, still there would have been a chance to think on, but there are no braces. So that means printf doesn't come inside while, and while is having a semicolon. Okay. Now let's just see what is the condition. What we have to substitute is 500. It is a post increment, so we have to first substitute and then do the updation, correct? So first we are going to check 500 is not equal to 0. That condition is true. Now what I should do? There is nothing to execute, right? So what will happen? Remember that if such kind of question comes, the loop will keep on executing. Okay, now they have said unsigned int is the type of I, and they have said that 4 bytes is the size. Now that if I consider 4 bytes, the range of this integer will be 0 to this particular number. Now doesn't matter if you are not able to remember the number, what is the range, but also you don't know how to calculate what is the range. Okay, doesn't matter. What you have to remember is this is an unsigned, means we won't have any negative, that's for sure. The number range will start from 0. That you have to remember. Since it is not signed number, it is unsigned number, so it is starting from 0. Okay, whatever is the limit, we don't have to worry actually about. So when till where this loop will go on, this loop will go on up till this whatever is the max. Okay, and when the max reaches, okay, what will happen is the next increment when it happens I plus plus, suppose your I is this now, next time you do I plus plus, the I will become back, it will come back to 0. So this is a concept that you have to remember, okay. So if it happens something like this, then it will go to the max limit, it will come back to 0, okay, because that is its max, it cannot go further to it, but my while loop is telling it to go, okay. So what I should do, I should come back to 0. Now what happens when this becomes 0? When this becomes 0, the while condition becomes false. So now I am sure, like if this question had come and if the options were there like runtime error and all that, you would have definitely chosen that without thinking, okay. So always check once before clicking for runtime or compile time errors. Mostly those answers are not feasible, okay. So when it reaches max, it will come back to 0. So when it comes back to 0, this condition becomes false. When this condition becomes false, the control comes to printf, okay. Now one more thing, now when I'm checking the condition I is 0, first substitute and then update, right. So after checking the condition, I have to update the value of I. So value of I will become 1 after execution of this. So final value that will be printed will be 1. Okay, I hope this is clear. You don't have to remember the max limit, you have to just remember that it starts from 0. So if it starts from 0 means you might have clicked infinite loop, I think so, if it was given the option, but it will not go to infinite. Once it reaches its max, it will come back to 0. When it comes back to 0, this condition becomes false and it will come to printf and it will print the value. I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay, let's just go to the next question because we are running short of time and we have a lot of things to also do. Can you please answer this question fast without wasting much time? Okay, there are options in this question, so it will be easy for you all to answer. There is a for loop in this question. First check if for loop syntax is correct. First check also if there is a semicolon at the end of for loop. Any answer? No answer? At least a guess. Can anyone do a guess? The session is recorded, so obviously if you are like thinking I'm doubtful, you can just re-watch it again afterwards, and anytime you can come back and you can message on Teams, okay. I'll definitely solve your doubts, not an issue, okay. So don't worry about it that okay, it was little difficult for me or something like that. Just, you know, you can approach anytime. I want a guess first, at least any guess that you feel here. No one? Are you people listening to me? D, compile error. Okay, any other answer? Okay, so what is given, how many times hello world will be printed? Okay, so we have hash include, you have int main and all that. Then after that we have I, which has been declared as integer, and 1024 is assigned to I. Next we have for loop. Now in for loop I told you that we have to have this two semicolons. There should not be a semicolon at the end. If there is a semicolon, then it will just go on and it will skip the statements inside the for loop. Now again they have not given any curly braces, so that means this printf comes under this for loop because there is no semicolon, there are no braces. Okay, so now let's just check about this for loop, what happens. Okay, first I'll show you the answer. Answer is 11. So we have initialization right here. Initialization is not done inside for loop, but it is done over here. I is equal to 1024. Condition checking, I told you, if they have not mentioned any condition, you have to see if they have mentioned a number. If there is a number, then it is true. If there is no 0, then the answer, the condition turns out to be false. So here there is a number, obviously 1024 is a number, so this condition turns out to be true. Now for the increment decrement, instead of that they have given this particular thing. Now here I greater than equal to 1 stands for right shift, if you all remember. Okay, so here I have written it, I greater than equal to 1 can be written as I equal to I greater than 1. Okay, so this means shift the digit by 1 bit, correct? So for that, for shifting, what I need to do, I need to write 1024 in binary. Okay, so this number systems 1024 in binary 8421, if you remember, I hope you remember, then please go through if you don't. Okay, so this is how, this is the binary representation of 1024. Okay, now when this condition or when this for loop will stop, if this I becomes 0. Okay, so whenever the I becomes 0, this for loop will come out, and the question asked is how many times hello world will be printed. So that many times the loop will be executing, that many times the hello world will be printed, right? So we have, this is the binary representation. If I keep on shifting it right 1 bit at a time, how many digits do I have in the binary here? I don't even have to write it, okay, shifting, because that will save your time. I'll just check the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So total I have 11 digits, and 11 times it will just shift, and after 12th, when it comes to 12th time, all the digits have become 0. So that means this condition will become false, and hence the reason the loop is executed 11 times. Okay, is this clear? Are there any questions on this?
Ma'am,
Yes.
whenever we see this shift operator, then only we have to convert the number into binary, right?
Yes, correct. So if you have a shift, you cannot do it in the decimal form. So wherever, whichever question, not this question, anywhere you see shift operator. So left side is which one? Less than sign. Okay, this is greater than sign, right? So greater than is right shift. Whenever you say right or left shift, convert it to binary and then do the shifting. Good question. Any other question anyone has? If no, then please respond saying no, so that we can just take, because we have a lot of questions also pending ahead, and we have already finished like 1 hour. Yes? Okay, I hope, assume it is no. Okay, yeah, yes, this question can someone answer? Why I'm asking you all to answer, because give it a try, then definitely I'm telling you the answer. I just remember the things, the points that I told you in the beginning. I'm using those things only in this question. So whatever I told you to, check whenever a question is given. Yes, any answer on this? We have a for loop, we have a switch case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cases, okay, 3 cases, 1 default case inside the switch, and then we have printf, which is inside the for loop, because this comes inside this braces. Okay, simple question. What is the output of this program?
Option D.
Option D. Okay. Any other answer?
C.
It's A. Okay. Okay. So I got 2 answers. Thank you for answering. Okay. So answer is option D. Very good. The person who has, got the answer. Now, how we are getting it? I told you in switch case, important things that we have to consider is a semicolon, and then we have to also check for a break statements. Okay. Now, if you see in case 0, there is no break statement. In case 1, there is no break statement. In case 5, any of these cases, there are no break statements. So what I had told you is, if there is no break statement, we have to continue with the cases. Okay. So here I is equal to 0. Okay. Switch case will come inside with I 0. Case 1 is correct, right? So this becomes 0. So case 0, what will happen? I plus equal to 5 is I is equal to I plus 5, right? So what will happen to I? I will become 5. I have written here case 0, I will become 5, right? Next, since there is no break statement, it will not come outside this. Okay, it will go to case 1. Although the case is not true, the value is not equal to 1, still it will come to case, because this I had told you in the beginning. If there is no break, it will still jump to the next case. So what will happen? I will become, previously it was 5, now it will become 7, because you did I is equal to I plus 2. Okay, next again there is no break, so it will jump to case 5. I will become 12. Again no break, so it will come to default case. Okay, now default case 12 plus 4 is ours, so 12 plus 4 is 16. So now it will come out of your switch case and it will come here, it will print 16. Okay, after this it will jump back, it will do I plus plus. Okay, so now what is I plus plus? I plus plus is 17, correct? So it will come here, it will check the condition. Is 17 less than 20? Yes, it's true. So it will come inside the switch case. Now inside switch case I is 17, but we do not have any of the cases with 17. So if there is no case which is given to us, we jump to the default case. So it will come to the default case, it will do 17 plus 4, that is 21. Okay, and it will come out of your switch case, it will print 21. Now again it will jump here for the increment of for loop. 21 will become 22 after increment. It will come here, it will check is 22 less than 20? No, false. It will come outside the for loop and it will stop. So finally what is getting printed is 17. Did I make any mistake? 17 plus 4 is 21, correct? Yes, so it will come and it will finally print 16 and 21. The answer D is not visible, I think, properly over here. Okay, so is that clear? So what you have to remember, break statement and the semicolon, very important. Yes, is it clear, the solution?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, the next question. Any questions? Okay, so quick please. Answer. Not able to? Okay.
A.
See, okay. Someone answered something? A. Okay.
C.
C. Compile error. Why is it a compile error? Answer fast. Why is it a compile error? Or simply a guess?
The if statement doesn't have brackets.
If statement doesn't, it has no. Here there are brackets, no? Which brackets? Curly braces you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
But I said curly braces, if they are not there, then what do? We consider only one statement which is written after it to be inside that if, right? If there are no curly braces. Like how we had here in the for loop somewhere we had, no, here. We didn't had any curly braces, but we considered, because the one statement after that is considered to be inside for loop if there are no braces given. Okay, so no braces is not an error. Remember this. Okay, so I'll just see what is the answer. Answer is B. Okay, how do we get that answer? What we have done is int x is equal to 3. Okay, initialization. Next we have if x is equal to 2, we are checking if x is 2. But after if we have a semicolon over here. So what do? There is nothing that happens after this. Okay, so x is equal to 0 is actually after if, but and there are no braces, right? So in that case, if this if semicolon was not there, what we would have done? We would have assumed that x is equal to 0 is inside this if. But here there is a semicolon, so I cannot assume that x is equal to 0 is inside this if. It is a completely different statement. Okay, So x is equal to 0 we have to execute now. So after x is equal to 3 it becomes 0. After this we come here, we are checking is 0, here there is no semicolon, so this is proper. So we are checking is it equal to 3, no. Okay, so this x plus plus we are considering it is inside if. Why? Because there are no braces, no brackets, but it is one statement which is there after if, so we are considering that x plus plus by default is inside this if. Okay, next what will happen over here, we have to go to else block. So I think if you are getting confused, then I will write it on the new line so that, but they will give you like this only. Okay, not necessarily they will give you on a new line. This is just to confuse. Okay, yes. So if x is equal to 3, if x is equal to 2, x is equal to 0 we are doing here. Okay, if there were braces then this would have been skipped. If since there are no braces we are considering that, and there is a semicolon, we are considering it is a completely different statement which doesn't come in the if block. Okay, so x is equal to 0, we have come here, we have checked this x plus plus is considered to be inside this if. Okay, so we will directly, this condition is false, so we will jump to else block. What is the x value? Recent x value is 0, so here x will become x plus 2. Okay, so x plus 2, what is the x value? X value is 2, and hence we are printing x is equal to 2. Okay, so do not get scared, do not get confused, do not worry that, oh, I was not able to solve or I was not able to remember. This comes with practice. Okay, the similar things they repeat in almost all the questions, but you should know that these are the loopholes where we should not get ditched or deceived by them, right? So we have to see that we are just finding out what confusion they have kept in the question. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Okay, now let's just go to the next question. Now at least this I think you people can answer. I will just give you a hint. When there is a break statement, what happens is it comes outside the loop. Okay, when there is a continue, it goes on again in the beginning of the loop. Okay, now I think I better do it, because as I told you we have less time, so because we have to do functions, pointers, arrays are also there. So I'll just quickly explain you the answer for this. Okay, so the answer here is 0 times. Why is it 0 times? Let's just see. So int I is equal to -5, so we are initializing -5 to I. Next there is a while loop. This while loop we will first check till where is it. So this is a curly braces open, so while loop is closing directly over here. So after printf the while loop is closed. Okay, next there is no semicolon for while loop, fine, so this is correct. So next we have if there is no semicolon, so fine, this is also correct. After this there are no braces, but there is only one statement, break, so we are considering that it is there in this if. Else block, they have given you braces because there are two statements inside the else block. Okay, and this printf comes outside if else, it comes inside your while. Okay, so now this is -5, so I'll just come and check. -5 is less than equal to 5, the condition is true, correct, it is less. So I will come inside the while loop, I will come here, I will check this. So is -5 greater than equal to 0? The condition is false, or is it true? The condition is false, right? So -5 is not greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so we will jump to else block. In else block, what we will do? We will do -5 plus 1, increment by 1. So -5 plus 1, we get -4, correct? So -4 is my I value, and next it is writing continue. So continue means I have to skip these statements and directly go back to condition checking. So this is one of the important thing that you should remember. It starts again in the beginning of your loop whenever there is continue. If there is break, it will come directly outside. If there is continue, it will jump to the starting. Okay, now we have what? -4. Next it times it becomes what? Again we will check here. -4 is less than equal to 5, true. This is false, so we will come here, I will do I plus plus, it will become -3, and this will continue until -1 plus 1 becomes 0. Okay, so when it becomes 0, I will continue, I will go here, 0 is less than equal to 5, true. Now this if block will be executed. Okay, so if 0 greater than equal to 0 will be executed. Okay, I hope you are understanding what I am saying. -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, it will go on, and when it has to come to this if block, okay, so when it becomes 0, so when this becomes 0, so 0 is equal to 0, this condition is true. So now this condition is true, so it has to break, means where it will break directly outside the while loop. Okay, so have you noticed one thing? If it comes inside, if it is going to break, if it comes inside, else it is saying continue. So there is no chance that it will jump to printf. There is not even once that there is no scope for it to come to printf only, because if this is true, it is breaking. If this is true, then it is continuing. So printf ka no option, hence the reason the answer is 0 times. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you all, whatever I have said. If not, please stop me, otherwise I will continue. I think this, okay, the last two questions. Okay, yes, this is the last question of this particular section. So can you just tell me this answer? Can you guess the answer? Size of function is written over here. Size of will always give us the size of the operand that we are passing inside. Okay, so if we pass some integer, then we will get the size has 2 bytes. If we are passing say float or character, then we will get 1 byte. Okay, whatever is the size of that particular data type which we have seen in that table in the beginning, that will be written. Okay, so what is the output of the following C program? Assume the size of integer has 4 bytes. Okay, so now they have told us instead of 2, we have to assume that integer is of 4 bytes. Okay, now we have given what? Int I is equal to 5. Fine. Next, one more variable is given to us, that is var is the name. It is of type integer. What is assigned to it is size of I plus plus. Okay, now one point, note it down if you want. Whenever there is size of, whatever is their expression inside the size of is never executed. Expression I'm talking about, it will just tell us the value and it will return. Okay, so now here it will just return the value, that is the size of I. It is not supposed to do I plus plus. So whenever there is size of and there is expression inside one, we are never going to execute. It will just return us the size of the variable. Okay, so what is the answer that we are getting here? Is answer is 5 and 4. Okay, so let's just see that now. So var is equal to size of I plus plus. So what is the size of I? I is of type integer, and they have told us that the size of integer is 4 bytes. So var will be equal to 4. Okay, so while printing, it will print us 5 and 4. So that's the answer A. Okay, is this clear to all of you? All these questions, whatever I solved, I tried to collect and show you different tricks that they play. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Any questions you have? Okay, if not now, maybe later when you study, if you find any questions, if you have any doubts, you can ping me anytime on Teams, not an issue. Okay, so let's just jump to the next one now, that is functions. Okay, now in functions, we all know there is something called as function call, there is function declaration, there is function definition. Okay, now function, this is the syntax or the prototype of it. Always whenever we write any function name, there is a return time for that function, and there are certain something called as parameters or arguments which are passed inside the brackets. Okay, so a function will have this, the whatever we have inside the brackets are called as the body of the function or the statements that we want to write. Okay, so this is one example. Okay, so if you can see, hash include stdio.h is a header that we know. This is a function declaration. So in the beginning we tell that, okay, in my program there is some function called as max, and it is taking 2 arguments. Okay, these are called as arguments. Okay, so both the arguments are of type integer. Next we jump to the main function. In main we have 2 variables declared here. I hope these are the commented sections that you all know, /star. Okay, next we have int a is equal to 100, int b is equal to 200, two variables initialized to 100 and 200. Next, this is a function call. Okay, if you see here, this is a function call. Now when do we have to write? Now this is a usual question that you people have in your mind. Sometimes we write LHS for a function call, sometimes we don't write. So when we write a return type, when we write a LHS or left hand side some variable for a function call is when my function is returning some value. Okay, so when I write some return in my function definition, that time I have to write a LHS for the function call. Suppose my function is not returning anything, then the return type. Okay, so where we write the return type of the function, first of all data type we need to mention, right? So this is your function definition. So the first here, whenever you might have seen integer is written, void is written, float is written, so that is the return type of that function. Okay, so whenever this function is not returning anything, we write here void. Remember this carefully. Okay, so whenever a function is not returning anything, means we are doing all the calculation inside the definition itself and printing it. Okay, we are not returning anything to the main function. In that case, we will write return type to be void, and there will be no LHS in the function call. Okay, so this is your function call. Okay, so we just write the name of the function and we pass two arguments. It jumps whenever there is a function call, it directly jumps from function call to function definition. So this is the function definition, so wherein it is telling us what I need to do inside that particular function. Okay, so when I return something, so if you can see here, we have written return result. Okay, so when I write return result, that means I have to write the return type of that whatever result. So result is of integer type, so we have written here int and we have written a LHS for the function call. Okay, so let's just take the question quickly. What is the output of the following program? So can you please write it down and just tell me the answer of this? What is the output? Okay, I want to also mention, I don't know if ma'am has already mentioned to you all, that after this session you have to answer a test. Okay, it's not necessary that you answer it right away. Okay, you can take a break or something and the link will be open. Okay, so you can please give a try to answer those questions in whichever way you want to answer. You will get to know your score also at the end of submission of the test. So please give a try. Okay, whatever concepts we have cleared, based on that only the questions are, so you will be able to answer them quickly, I suppose. Okay, so any answer for this? What is this question saying? Output for the following program. Okay, so if you can see, this is a function declaration, so it is of type void. So just now I told you, if there is void, that means there is no return type. The name of the function is fun. Okay, and there are two arguments that have been passed of type integer. Next will come here, we have said int I is equal to 5, so we have just done the initialization. Next we are calling the function. Okay, there is no return type since it is void. That's the reason we have not written any, they have not written any LHS over here. Okay, so fun is the name of the function, we are just calling the function. Now what is the first, what is the I value? I value is 5. So this is a pre-decrement, if you remember. So if this is a pre-decrement, what will be the value over here? Just answer that much. What will be the value for this minus I that will be passed?
5.
5. But did I mention, did I I did some mistake? You think so? Yes, any mistake did I do? Values, anything? Okay, so whenever there is any function parameters that are passed, okay, you have to always evaluate it from right to left, okay, instead of left to right. So first thing that will happen is this I plus plus will be incremented. Okay, sorry, this will be evaluated. So I plus plus is a post increment. So what is the value that will be substituted here for I plus plus? The value that will be substituted here, will it be 5 or will it be 6?
5.
5. Very good. Since it is post, we substitute and then we update. So this is 5. Okay. Next, after this, what will happen? This will become 6. Correct? So substituted value will be 5. Okay, let me just check this one if I can use it again. But okay. Okay, so this value becomes 5, and after this substitution it becomes 6, correct? So when we go here, the 6 value is passed on over here. This is pre-decrement. So when we do pre-decrement, first I have to evaluate and then I have to substitute. So 6 becomes 5, and that is what we have to pass on. So when I call a function fun, it will jump here. What are the values that will be passed? The values that will be passed will be 5 and 5. Okay, so then while printing again, if you can see, these are post, right? Both are post. So will it be printed as 6 or will it be printed as 5?
5.
5, because these are post. So first we substitute, okay, and then we evaluate. So the first two values that will be printed will be 5. Okay, next after this, this will be incremented to 6, but this is of no use for us because we are not using it anywhere. Now control comes back to my function again. Okay, the control comes back here. So now what is the I value that we have to use here? Yes, what was the recent I value? The recent I value was 5. Okay, so this is again a post decrement. So first we will substitute 5 and then we will decrement it. Okay, so what is the decremented value? The decremented value is 4, that will be passed on over here. Okay, so this is again a pre-increment. So 4 will change to 5. So what are the two values that we will pass on to the function? Again, the two values that will be passed will be 5 and 5. Again, here when it comes, these are again post. So what will be the values that will be printed? Second time will be again 5, 5. The control will come back to this location over here. Correct? So then it will again print. The current value of I was 5. So again, this is a post, right? So first it will substitute, then it will evaluate. So what will be the value that will be printed will be 5, and hence the reason we are getting here 5. So you have to just remember if it is plus plus I or I plus, whether it is plus plus I or I plus plus I, first do the calculation, updating, then substitute, and in this case first we substitute, use the value, and then do the calculation. For the next line, the calculated value will go. For this current line, the original value will remain. Okay, so I hope that is also clear. Yes, now this is one thing that is again the similar type of question which I solved. Okay, here you can see again there is a right shift, correct? So the number that is being asked to us over here is 435. So first thing that you need to do is you need to convert this. Okay, I'm not solving it. This is very easy because I have already solved this kind of thing. So 435, you just convert it into binary. So answer is already there here. Okay, so you need not worry about that. So first what we do is we convert it to binary, that is over here. This is the binary of 435. Then we right shift, okay, until this condition becomes false. So this condition will become false when num becomes 0. Correct? So similar type of thing I have already solved. So we have to just count how many digits are there in the binary. So in this case we have 9 digits in the binary. So that is the reason the value that will be returned here, okay, is 9, because it has got 435 when I convert it into binary and there is a right shift. So she had also asked me if there is any right shift, are we supposed to convert it into binary? Yes. 435 you convert it into binary, count the number of digits. You don't even have to look at this question actually. If there is a right shift, how many times it executes, just convert it into binary, count the digits, write the answer. Okay. thing is recursion, which comes under functions. Okay, recursion is, I hope some of you might be knowing this. With respect to recursion, what kind of questions that appear in your exam is, I would like to tell you and suggest you, please go through the Fibonacci series factorial. Okay, they don't expect you to write big 10 lines, 10 pages of code. They expect you to write just 5 to 6 and 7 lines of code. With respect to recursion, you don't have to worry much. You just have to just revise these questions. If you want, you can write down calculating factorial of a number, Fibonacci series. Okay, these are the major things. For the technical round also, they might just tell you just write it using recursion. Okay, so please go through those two programs. Okay, recursion is basically function which has been called by itself. Okay, so if you can see here, there is an example. So this is a main, and we have made a function call here. The function name is recursion. When I make a call to this function, where is the definition of the function? The definition of the function is over here. Okay, so the name of the function is recursion. So inside this function, again we are calling a function recursion. Okay, so that is what is called as recursion. That means calling a function within itself. And the major question that appear for this topic is writing this program of factorial and Fibonacci series. So it's a sincere request, please practice these programs, not normal, but writing using recursion. It is hardly 5 lines of code. Okay, so that is what is about recursion. Okay, so next what we have is arrays. A very important concept, okay, is arrays. Can someone just tell me what is an array, if you remember, what you remember with respect to array? Are you people there listening to me? Can someone answer what is an array? All are sleeping? No, no one can answer what is an array. Basically, array, it is a collection of elements of similar data type or the same data type. Okay, so when we have multiple numbers of same data type, we call it as an array. Now with respect to array, the questions that appear for placements are using increment, decrement. Okay, just print the value at this particular location in an array. These are the questions that usually appear. So basically this is a snapshot of your memory of an how it looks. So these are the locations in the memory, these are the numbers, addresses in the memory. Okay, and each of this line, what you say, we let us assume it is of 1 byte. Okay, so we say that integer takes 4 bytes, right? So in this case, if I declare any integer x, okay, so it will take 4 bytes in the memory. So let's just see, it will take starting from 101 to 104. So this particular memory will be reserved for this type integer. Okay, next, suppose I declare like this. This is a how we declare array. Now what is this? The name of the array is A, and how many elements are there in this array? There are 2 elements in this array. Okay, so each element is of type integer. So what will be the total size of this array? Can someone answer? There are 2 elements because this subscript says that there are 2 elements and each element is of type integer. So what will be the total size of this array? Answer fast, please.
3.
3. How 3? One integer
8.
takes 4 bytes. One integer takes 4 bytes. Okay, so elements, how many elements are one integer? Will have only one element, but this is an array, right? So array of 2 elements. So 2 elements, one element is of 4 bytes, so 2 elements will be of
8.
8 bytes, not bits. Okay, there is a difference between bits and bytes, so it will have 8 bytes. So in my memory, how it will be reserved? All the 8 bytes starting from 113 to 120 will be reserved for this particular array A. Always remember, array will have a continuous allocation. So you cannot say that at 113 one element is there and at 121 second element is there. No, 113 first, then 114 will have second, then 115 will have third, and so on. Okay, now there are three types of arrays: one dimensional, two dimensional, multi-dimensional. Usually for the placement, the question that appears are only on one dimensional. So if you want, you can just go through two and multi, but just make sure that you know one dimensional. What is the syntax? Data type, write the array. Okay. So we have a data type, the array name, and the size. The size will tell how many elements you want in that array. Okay, you can have integer, character, float, whatever type of array you want, you can have it. Okay, so so I hope these things are clear to you all. Okay, one more thing that you have to know, that whenever I am declaring any array, okay, so suppose I have declared an array, say int age, and this is a square bracket. Inside square bracket, I tell how many elements are there. Okay, so one way is, if I don't want to mention how many elements are there, I can directly initialize it like this. Okay, so if I don't mention here 5 and I just directly write that this many elements are there, this is correct. Okay, or I have to mention the size of the array. Both the things are not there, then it is considered to be a error. Okay, so I repeat again, you have to either mention the size of the array, or you have to initialize the array keeping the square bracket blank. That is allowed. But if you keep the square bracket blank and if you don't initialize, then that's an error. So that you have to note it down, because sometimes that kind of question appears. Okay, what is the index? So if I say my array is the name of the array, it is of type integer. How many elements are there? There are 5 elements, right? So my array of 0 will be 100, my array of 1 will be 200, my array of 2 will be 300, 3 will be 400, and 4 will be 500. So this is an index. Inside the square bracket, I need to mention for individual element if I want to access them. Okay, so next we have is pointers. Okay, so pointers, usually the question appears from pointers. What you need to remember with respect to pointers is there are two signs, one is star and one is ampersand. You don't have to worry like pointers are difficult. Pointers are not difficult. You just understand what it stands for and what are the two things that are there. One is star and one is ampersand sign, asterisk and ampersand sign. Okay, asterisk is also called as indirection operator or dereferencing operator. Okay, so you can see here examples. Now when I said char star of c, this means that c is a variable which is of type pointer. Okay, so c is a variable which is of type pointer. So what does that mean? C cannot contain any other normal value. C will always contain address of some other variable. If I just write char c, what does that mean? That c can contain any character value. But if I am writing char star c, that means c is a variable name. Okay, and it is of type pointer, and it is of type pointer means what it contains? It contains the address of some other variable. Okay, now that variable, it is of type character. Same way int star IP, that means IP is a variable which is of type pointer. That means it will contain the address of some other variable which is of type integer. Same applies for this. Okay, next when I say ampersand, ampersand means address directly. So if I want to write A is equal to ampersand of B, that means address of B is given to A. For that, A has to be but a pointer variable. So that we'll see now. Let's just see that. How do we declare a variable? So we have first declared integer A. Next, this is A in the memory. The address of A is, say, suppose 1000 in the memory. Next, we are declaring a pointer. Okay, PA is a pointer variable. How I know that it is a pointer variable? Because I have put a star in front of PA. That means PA cannot have just 5, 6, 7 any random number, but PA will always have an address of some other variable. Okay, so let's just see that now. Okay, so PA we have created in the memory. The address of PA is 2000. Okay, but what will PA contain is address of some other variable. That is what it means. Set value of A to 10. Okay, A is a normal variable, so I can directly set some value to it. So I am setting it as 10. Okay, Next, point PA to address of A. So why am I pointing PA to address of A? Because I said that PA is a pointer variable. I cannot just say PA is equal to 10. That is not allowed because it is a pointer variable. It has to have the address only. Address of what? Address of some other integer variable. Okay, so that is why what we did, how am I mentioning that PA is equal to ampersand. Ampersand will tell address of which variable? A. So can you guess what will be the content here now or in PA? When I do this, PA is equal to ampersand of A.
1000.
Very good. Sorry, what did you say? 2000 or 1000?
1000.
1000. Very good. So address of A, we are putting it into PA, but before putting it into PA, we have to declare that PA is a pointer variable. Okay, so do not forget that. So that is how we have put now 1000 in PA, and PA is pointing to A. That is the reason we call it as a pointer. Okay. Next, how do we set value of PA now? Let's just see that. So now what is the thing we have is A is equal to 10, address of A is 1000, PA is equal to 1000, address of 2000. Address is 2000. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm saying, now if I want to set a value to the location to which PA is pointing to, which location PA is pointing to? PA is pointing to 1000. That means it is pointing to A. So if I want to change the value of A, then I have to use a star again, and I will write star of PA is equal to 12. That means value at address of A. Okay, so that we have to change. So now instead of 10, it will become 12 after I do star of P. I hope ampersand and star is clear to you all. So if I want to just use the address, I will write ampersand the way we did in the previous slide. Here we are doing star of PA. That means we are just changing the value at the location which PA is holding. PA is holding whose address? It is holding A's address, and hence we are changing the value of A. So star of PA is equal to 12 is also same as A is equal to 12. Okay. Next is a concept of call by value and call by reference. So I'll just tell you what it is, okay, because we are falling short of time. So I'll just tell you what it is. Basically, call by value is again, they won't ask you as in directly, but you should know the concept, what is call by value and what is call by reference. So call by value is when we are passing any value to the function directly, the value is sent, okay. And when we call by references, we just send the address, whatever we saw just now with respect to address. So instead of passing 10, we will be passing 1000, in which case we will be sending 1000. It will be call by reference, that is address of the variable is sent, whereas in case of call by value, we will directly send the value of that particular variable. Okay, so this examples you can definitely go through later, okay, for understanding. So these all slides are already there. So do you want me to explain it little bit deeper here for call by reference and call by value, or is it okay? I don't want you all to sleep, so I don't want to drag also to make you sleep. So if it's okay, basically what we are doing is we are passing the pointer variables, that is the address, directly, and we are using the address, okay, to swap or to modify. So that is what is your call by reference. Okay, so the differences are also written over here. Next that you should know is dynamic memory allocation. You should just know the functions. There are 4 functions which allocates the memory dynamically. So for this there are direct question which appears. Malloc, which allocates the requested size of bytes, okay, and it returns a pointer to the first byte. Calloc is the one which allocates the space for any array elements. So whenever we have array elements, we usually use calloc, and they initialize them to 0, okay, and again it returns the pointer to the first element. So for this direct question up here, so you should just know what is malloc, what is calloc, what is free. Free is used to free the space, and realloc is used to modify the size. Okay, so suppose sometimes what happens is you allocate some space and then later you feel like, okay, this is not enough, I need to reallocate it. So in that case realloc is used. So you just need to know what all are all this, okay. what is malloc, what is calloc, what is free, what is realloc. The definition is enough for you all to know to answer the question, because it is always the direct one. Okay, malloc, the difference is calloc will allocate directly a block, okay, bigger block of memory, whereas malloc is not directly a block of memory. Okay, now this is the first question. Can anyone answer this question? It is given to us an array ARR, and it has been initialized to so many elements in an array, and then we have a star of IP is equal to ARR plus 4. Okay, so when I say star of IP also, this is one thing that you should remember. Whenever we allocate an array directly to a pointer, the pointer will always point to the first element in the array. So this is one thing that you should remember, that with respect to arrays, you don't have to mention the address of all the elements, because we have already seen the memory allocation in for arrays. The first element, all the elements are in continuously stored in the memory. So whenever I just say ARR, okay, that means it points directly to the first. Okay, then when I say ARR plus 4, that means it will jump to the next 4 locations. Okay, so can someone guess what will be IP of 1 in this case? What will be the IP value that will be changed here when I say ARR plus 4? Yes,
5.
will be pointing to 5, and then what will be printed? IP of 1 will be printed as what? Yes, what will be printed? Printf, what will happen? Okay, so whatever he answered is correct. So when I just now told you that whenever there is a pointer variable on the left hand side, and if I assign array to it, obviously the pointer variable will first point to the first element. Okay, so when I do array ARR plus 4, it will do 1. Okay, it is over here, so 1 2 3 4, it will jump to 5. So this is what is IP pointing to after initializing this to IP. Okay, so 5, and then I do IP of 1. Okay, so this, if it is starting from 5, we know that array starts with 0, right? So this is the 0th location of IP. So first location of IP will be the next to it, that is 6. Okay, so the output here, or the answer here, will be 6. Okay, now this you all have already done. This is very simple question. Okay, I want you all to try this. I am not going to give you the answer. You please try it, then we will solve it. Please give some time, 2 minutes time, and solve it fast. Yes. What will be printed? What are the 3 values that will be printed?
Six, and garbage value.
6, 6, and
Some random garbage value.
random value. Okay. Any other answer?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. Okay, somewhere one answer is right. Okay, now let's just see what is happening over here. Okay, so I have int b of 4. Okay, so this is B of 0, this is B of 1. This we saw in the array representation. Okay, so this is the array which is having 4 elements. So this particular 5 we have to refer to using 0. So it always starts with 0. Okay, so B of 0, B of 1, B of 2, B of 3. Right, now let's just see what is this doing. Okay, so I have written over here. So K is equal to plus B1. Okay, so what is B1? B1 is 1, correct? This is B of 0, so this is B of 1, right? So K is equal to plus 1. So this is a pre-increment, so obviously we have to do the increment. So K value will become 2. I don't know, maybe he considered 5 as the value. That's the reason he got it wrong. So remember this again, starting always it starts with 0. Okay, so this becomes B of 0, this becomes B of 1, this becomes B of 2, this is B of 3. Okay, arrays, always remember that. Next we have O is equal to B of 1 plus plus. This K value we got already. Now let's just see what happens to B of 1 plus plus. What is B of 1 value? Yes. What is B of 1 value? Are we supposed to take the above one or the recently updated one? We have to take the recently updated one. Okay, so recently what was this B of 1 changed to? B of 1 was changed to 2, right? So B of 1 is 2. So what will be this? This is post. So I don't have to increment it. So directly O value will be 2. Okay, next we have M is equal to B of K plus plus. So what is the K recent K value? The recent K value that we have got is K is equal to 2 that we just now solved, right? So that 2 value I have to substitute over here. Okay, now do I have to do plus plus for this one? Yes, are you people there with me? It's K plus plus. What is the recent K value that we have? Recent K value that we got just now here is 2 that I've written over here. Okay, so when I substitute that 2, so what is this is post, so I don't have to first do it, right? So first I'll substitute. So what is B of 2? B of 2 is 0, 1 and 2. So what is B of 2? B of 2 is 32, correct? So B of 2 is 32, so that will be printed. That is what is your final M value. So K value is 2, O value is 2 and M value is 32. Just that remember pre and post, how do we do it? Okay, and if such kind of question comes one by one, then you have to just remember where there is a updation. So you do not have to go back and check the original value. What is the recent updated value that you have to check always. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Yes, can you answer this? What will happen if in a C program you assign a value to an array element whose subscript exceeds the size of array? Okay, so if you have declared that it is 5 and then you have initialized 6 elements to an array, what will happen? Okay, so in that case the program may crash, because when we are declaring that array is having 5 elements, that much memory is allocated for that array, and if I try to access a 6th element in that array which is not existing itself, okay, so in that case the program may crash. Okay, what does the following declaration mean? Okay, so this is again they usually ask this question. Okay, they give a pointer and they give a array. So what is the answer? Always what should be given a precedence. Okay, that is basically, you don't even have to check the what is that answers. You should always know that array is given a highest precedence. Okay, so always the statement that you read, no, you have to always read it carefully. So here it is telling it is a pointer to, is a ptr is a pointer to an array of 10 integers. So Always first it is an array of integers. That statement has to be there in the answer, and then to that the pointer. So you cannot say that it is a array of pointers. It is a pointer to an array. So always the array is given a higher precedence than a pointer. Okay. Okay, so in C, if you pass an array as an argument to a function, what actually gets passed? Okay, so if you are passing an array, I just now told you for the last question, whenever we are assigning any array to a pointer also, what is that gets assigned? Is it the entire array, or what is that gets assigned? So that is linked to this question. So whenever you are passing an array as an argument to a function, what actually gets passed? So it is always the base address of the array that gets passed. Okay. And what? Okay, now I know you people are already bugged up, so I'll just quickly touch the structures and unions. Okay, I know it's already time up also, so I won't take much time. Just what are the important things that you should know in structures and unions. Okay, so basically a structure is a collection of related data items. Now in case of arrays we have a similar data types, but in case of structures we have different types. Okay, data types, it's not always the similar data types. And the question that usually comes in structures are with respect to the storage. So you have to just remember, okay, before that, union and structure both store the data of different data types. Okay, and the question that usually appears on structures and unions is that the storage. So if the question appears like, what is the total storage, okay, the structure takes, so you have to add up all of this. Okay, that will be the total storage. So how many bytes character takes, how many bytes integer takes, how many byte float takes, all of this will be added up. That will be the storage area of structure. And for union, make a note of it. For union, it's always if there are 4 elements, okay, the highest one, whoever is having the highest memory, that is the total memory. So in this case, now we have 100 elements. So character takes 1 byte, so this is 100 bytes, this is 50 bytes, this is 2 bytes, and this is 4 bytes. So the highest memory that will be allocated for union is 100 bytes. So that is what you have to remember. Whereas for structures it is addition of all, for unions it is the highest one. Okay, now I will be sharing this PPT with you all, and there are other questions attached at the end. Okay, so with the explanation and with the answers, you can definitely go through it, please. It's a request. Okay, and if you have any questions, if you have any doubt, you please message me personally, because since it's time up and I know you people might be bored enough, so I don't want to do that more. Okay, so now what is the last thing that I have is, I will just send you the link. Okay, I mentioned you about a test right at the end of the session. I want you all to answer the test. You take your time, there is no time limit for the test, so you can take 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever time you want. You please answer the test, give at least an attempt. You might not get full marks or you might not good marks, but it's okay. No one is judging you based on that. That will give you some idea about how to answer the questions. Okay, are there any questions from your side that you want to ask me? I hope you all are there.
Ma'am,
Yes.
there was one question previously where you told that integer variable equals to 052. So that time we were converting that number, that octal number to decimal. So
Correct.
like that, can we have anything for binary or hexadecimal?
Hexadecimal you have, that is written as 0x. Okay,
Okay.
so if you get 0x, then you should know that it is a hexadecimal number. Ultimately you need to convert it to binary for this. So what questions will appear for octal or hexadecimal is just right shift, left shift kind of questions. Okay, so ultimately you have to convert it into binary. So you just have octal and you have hexadecimal. These are the two additional things. So hexadecimal is written as 0x and octal is written as 0. Just one, yes, you want to say something, Apeksha?
Okay.
Okay. So one thing is that you please revise the concepts, because the time limit given was just 2 hours, and it becomes very difficult to cover the things in detail. And I hope you understand like what is the state. So please go through, revise the things. It's not at all difficult to crack your interviews, just the basics. And I told you how they frame the questions, how they make you confused. Okay, the actual logic behind is very simple, but if you are thorough with your basics, then you can crack any difficult question also. So that's all from my side. If you have to say anything, then please, otherwise we can wind up. And I will share the link immediately after this. Okay, after I leave the meeting, you please try to attempt. It just hardly 15 marks, 15 questions are there.
Thank
Please
you,
try to
Anuja.
attempt.
Anuja, thank you. You have conducted it so nicely with so much patience and such a long session, and your enthusiasm has not gone down till the last minute. So thank you very much. And I'm sure all the students have gained a lot. Students, please take these sessions very seriously. It's not easy for these teachers to teach this because they've got so many other responsibilities, but this is something extra which they're doing just to help you to increase your chances at placement. So please take all the sessions seriously, especially the tests, because that will help you, know for yourself where you stand. Sometimes these things look easy or they look too difficult. Only when you answer the test, you know whether you're able to think at that moment. So please take these tests things very seriously. Answer the test. Take your time, answer, see where you went wrong after answering. There's no point copying because we're not going to use those marks anyway. This is only for you, for your knowledge. Okay, once again, thank you, Anuja. Would any of the students like to say anything? Okay, so thank you. I think Anuja will be sharing the presentation in this team, so you all can
Yes, ma'am.
refer to it. Okay, and
Yes.
another thing I also want to add before we wind up, please do not share this information with others because see, it's a competition. You all are competing with others for these placement drives. So please don't share this information. This is like proprietary information which the college is putting forth. So please use it for your own development. Don't share it out. Okay, more than this, I cannot tell you. If you share it out, that means you're really stupid. Okay, yeah. Thank you and all the best to all of you.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.